What's up, SE Nation? Welcome back to another episode. I am Ramzi Marjaba. It is time to go live, I guess. Hey, Scott. Good to have you. And if anybody, I had the YouTube channel going on at the same time, so I heard myself, I guess. Hey, so hello. First order of business. Hello. Thank you for coming on. If you're watching, like, do as Scott just did. Let me know you're here. Uh, I'm glad you enjoyed the interview with Catherine, Scott. Let me know you're here, who you are, what you do, what you want to achieve out of this call. I personally wanted to talk about opportunity assignments, but I would love for you to actually jump in and ask me questions if you have any. Otherwise, it will be a very short discussion. It's not a discussion, it'll be a short lecture, which I don't enjoy doing. I am hopped up on cough syrup and lozenges. No, showing the wrong camera. And so let's go. Let's see how this goes, and let's talk about today. So, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them. Otherwise, oh no, ask them. Otherwise, I won't be able to answer them. So, last time we chatted. Uh, we started a little bit with we talked about the back end and the front end. Back end is anything that happens behind the scenes. Front end is everything customer facing. We discussed 11 back end things, and then we started talking about discovery. But then it dawned on me that one of the areas that we discussed was opportunity assignments. And I wanted to dig into that a little bit more because opportunity assignment very much depends on the size of the company, the stage of the company, the type of customer, the geographical location, how many products the company sells. So I figured let's dig into that a little bit more and we'll see how things go. So let's dig into and I wanted to follow the life cycle of a company, which obviously starts as a op assignment. If I start coughing uncontrollably, forgive me. I know where the mute button is, and I will be using it judiciously today. I don't know if judiciously is the right word, but that's the word I use, and live with it. Scott, I'd love to hear what you enjoyed about the interview with Catherine. So let me know. So let's talk about coming up, like brand new company. It's a startup. They just got some funding. When it's a startup, there's usually like one founder or two, three founders, some back-end engineer. The founders are doing the sales engineering and the sales. They're doing everything really. Um, so as okay, I would be happy to pitch my own services. So check out the SE hotline, and that's what we do there. Okay, so startups sometimes they end up hiring like 10 salespeople before they hire their first SE. Some startups do hire an SE sales pair, but that's a rarity. It's not the norm. So you might have here 10 salespeople, one SE. Let's make this here. One SE. At this point, that one SE is tied to all 10 salespeople. And I've actually talked to people on this channel that had that situation. It's not a fun situation to be in because you're basically just jumping from one call to the next, doing demo after demo after demo. You don't even have time to think about what you want to talk about, let alone prepare, let alone be proactive and record some videos, for example. I'm starting to think this is a bad idea. Okay, let's see how this goes. Hey Scott, you want to jump on and you can do the chatting? That would be fun for me. So yeah, as much as I'd like to keep going, I think I'm going to be coughing most of the time, anyways. I'm going to give it another 2 minutes, and if I continue like this, I'm just going to stop and we'll do the session again on Thursday. Hopefully by then I'm feeling better. So so for everyone's here, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. We might cut this short just because I keep coughing, and I want this to be useful. So at this point, when there's one SE covering like 10 salespeople, you're not the way the opportunity is assigned to you is by default, right? There's a salesperson, they need someone, they ask an SE. Now, depending how busy that SE is, the SE themselves are going to have to screen which opportunity they're going to jump on, which opportunity they're not going to jump on. So if, let's say it's the SE has to work on $100K deal or more, if they get requests for 10K deals, then the SE will say no. They will not be assigned that opportunity. They will not participate. So there's that. But as the company grows, generally speaking, at this point, they start thinking, all right, there's way too many salespeople comparison to SEs. So let's just start increasing the number of SEs here, make the salespeople more efficient. So now you'll get 10 AEs, which stands for account executives, to like 2 SEs, even 10 AEs to 3 SEs. So you have that ratio. It might continue increasing, it might not. In an ideal world, you'll have 1-to-1 ratio, but sometimes that's impossible. So when you get this, and sometimes they might even grow the sales team at the same time as growing the SE team. So you might end up with 30 AEs to 10 SEs. Now you're looking at the ratio, it's 3-to-1. Not horrible. Doable. So now we talk about like how SEs are configured sometimes as the teams grow. So there are 3 ways to assign SEs, if you will. You have the pooled model. So the SEs are assigned by opportunity. You can also have account model. So SEs are assigned to accounts. Or, more aptly, they're tied to a salesperson. Just do AE here. Tied to AE or more, but there's a limited number of AEs that they're tied to, so it could be between 1 and 3 AEs. I've heard of more. I've heard one SE covering 10 people. That's not good. If you're building a company and that's what you have, don't do it. If you're an SE looking to join a company and that's what they have, don't join. And then the last one is product model. So I know this is live, so please, if you're here, make sure to say hello in the chat. jump in, have a discussion with Scott. Scott was great to talk to. He's been here on every live. I appreciate that, Scott. Tied to a product. So instead of covering territory here, usually like let's call this territory model. Account / AE model. So if someone is in Dallas, Texas, they can cover. Thank you. Thank you, Scott. If someone is in Dallas, they can be covering central United States, and they can be tied to 1, 2, or 3 AEs. Whereas here, this is only useful if the company has a lot of products. So for example, let's say Cisco, you have 20, 30, 40 million products. You have a lot of different products. I'm not saying that's how Cisco does it, but they could just say, hey, you're an SE, and it could be a combination of both territory and product. You're an SE covering territory X, product Y. And you might have 3 other SEs in the same territory covering other products, and now the AE will invite whoever the SE is that is required for whatever opportunity that they're working on. So if this is clear, please give me a thumbs up in the chat. So I know that I'm on the right track helping you. So here's, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. What else? So when you're in a pooled model, yeah, what happens is there are multiple ways for you to be assigned to an opportunity. You could be assigned like a salesperson. Thank you, Scott. A salesperson comes in, says, "Hey, I need support for this opportunity. I am going to send an email to the manager, or I'm going to open a ticket in Salesforce and in Jira, whatever." And now the manager gets that opportunity, and they can take a look and say, like, all right, this deal fits our criteria. So that's kind of a back-end process that sales engineer managers should have. Is the criteria like at what point will an SE be assigned to that opportunity? Is there qualification done? How many meetings have the salesperson done with the customer? You have all these little aspects that you can take a look at to make sure that, you know what, this opportunity is a good opportunity to waste a valuable resource's time, or to invest a valuable resource's time. And this happens in startups, and also it happens in larger organizations that sell into small to medium-sized businesses. Like a deal could be anywhere between 1,000 to 10,000. Depending on the company, that number could change, but that's generally what I see. So companies like HubSpot. HubSpot is a CRM, and they sell into enterprise accounts. So enterprise accounts means large accounts, those you have repeat customers with, at which point you might have sales engineers who are assigned to a territory or to an account, to a customer. You say, hey, Scott, you're assigned to Verizon Wireless. That is your customer. Or Verizon Wireless and AT&T. Whatever the number is, doesn't really matter. Or, Scott, you're assigned to this salesperson, who is then assigned to AT&T, Verizon Wireless, the account. But then you have HubSpot also selling to mom and pop shops, small companies that may have like 5 salespeople. So the transactions there is different. For that, you'd have a lot of salespeople, like maybe 100 salespeople, and you might need 20, 30, 40 SEs to cover that. So now you have a pool model. So there's a difference between the same company can have both, basically. The same company, HubSpot, can have pooled model and territory account model, depending on the customers that they're going after. Most startups start off like this. And if they're smart, at some point, as fast as possible, transition to this. If they are going after enterprise opportunities, if they're going after small to medium business, they stay in the pool model. So the product model is a little bit different, where you can have, if you have a lot of different products, like my company has, you have SEs covering different products in the same territory, and then the AE plucks them in whenever they want. Yep, I'm glad you think so, Scott. So, but also this could be used in the like a generalist specialist model. So what is a generalist? A generalist is usually an account SE that covers a small territory and covers all the different products in their portfolio. And a specialist uses a product model, covers a larger territory, and is brought in for specific opportunities where their product is being used and it's of a large enough deal that will make it warrant travel somewhere around the world to have a discussion with the customer. So that's pretty much what I want to talk about. Like now the SEs can choose when to get involved, or if you're tied to an AE, it's a little bit easier to choose when you're going to get involved. You're going to get involved whenever your AE wants you to get involved. So if an AE wants you on a qualification call, you can jump on a qualification call. But it will be up to you as an SE to say like, hey, Mr. or Mrs. AE, I'm working on all these deals for you, especially if you're tied one-to-one. If you're tied one-to-many, it may change a little bit, but if you're tied one-to-one, you can have that discussion with the AE, like, hey, I am working on all these opportunities for you. Which one do you want me to drop so I can jump on this qualification call with you? Or maybe you should do that qualification call on your own and bring me in when there's an actual opportunity. If you're tied to more than one, now you're balancing between the different account executives that are required. Does it hurt your rep with the company if you decline to take that call? Well, I like that question, Scott. Like our job is to make sure that the AEs are supported. So if I'm being invited into a call that is important, like it's a big customer that is not yet qualified, I can have that discussion with my salesperson. Like, hey, is this an important call? Is this a strategic call, as we call it? Like, if they're not qualified, if there's no budget this year, but I come in, we have this discussion. Will it lead for them to have budget next year? Because when we're talking to enterprise customers, we're working through, like, it's not just a one and done. We're not trying to sell something and get out. It's not a car. It's a partnership. So we want the more we meet up with the customers, the better our relationship is. The more trust we have, the easier it is for us to help them. So you kind of have to balance that up. Like, if I'm working on 10 other things for this AE and I don't have time, then AE, how about you do this on your own? Or let me know which one I can move around for you. Because in the end, I'm here to support you, whatever it is that you need. So if there's something else that is less strategic or not as important, or you think is not going to come, let me drop it or push it out, and I'll jump on this. So it's not always black and white. Does that make sense? Yeah, especially when you're like tied 1-to-1 or 1-to-2 or 1-to-3. Your partners, like Chris White has this book. I don't know if you know Chris White, but he's the author of The 6 Habits of Highly Effective Sales Engineers. He has an entire chapter. Habit number 1. Oh, I can't show you. I don't know if you see it. Nope. Habit number 1, it's partner, which means partner with your salesperson. That's your job. That's the number 1 habit that he has on the list. All right, I'm glad it makes sense. So if someone joined recently, please make sure to comment. Let me know you're here. Let me know who you are. Hopefully this is being useful to you as well. So when you're in a pooled model, it's a little less relationshipy. You still have to build that relationship, but managers are usually more involved. Okay, I'm glad you got that book. Hope you enjoy it. If your time is being wasted, you can talk to your manager can then talk to the sales team and say like, hey, stop inviting my SE for useless calls. So it's a little bit different. But here, when you're in a territory and account model, you're assumed to be senior enough. Right? So pooled model, like if you look at companies that sell into small and medium businesses, a pooled model is good for junior SEs, those who come in and want to learn the business, because they're not doing everything that a territory SE would do. They might not be doing the discovery. Might not be doing the demo, or they're definitely doing the demo, but they might not be doing the discovery at least. And so they're not doing the relationship building. They're more of a Dr. Oz, who's a surgeon. People probably know him from being on Oprah, but I think that's the story I heard. He got so famous for doing one cut in a surgery that he was just called in for that one cut and then he leaves. Yeah, he doesn't chat with the patient. I'm not saying you should cut the customer. Don't do that. But as SEs, when in a pool model, you're jumping in, you're doing the demo, and you're on to the next demo, and on and on and on. Sometimes it's a little bit more consultative, but mostly it's not. And yeah, so when you're working, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. That's exactly. So Catherine, by the way, was on the show like last week. It was the Monday's show, yesterday's show, I guess. We did talk about it. So here's something that we talked about that I'll bring up here. She had SEs in a pool model, and she recently switched them to account model. See, company's growing. She did the right thing, in my opinion, for whatever that's worth. Something she said though is that when they were in the pool model, some SEs were not as successful switching into sales because they're not as involved and they don't know exactly what's happening in the sales cycle. But in like a territory and account model, SEs are usually more involved with sales. They still don't see everything, but they're a little bit more involved. And I find SEs who are here in this, you can't see my screen. In this model, in the account model, are become great salespeople if they choose to go that route, because they understand building relationships, they understand problem solving. So something to think about for the future as well. If like a company wants to develop its own SEs and own salespeople, that's one way to do it. So Yeah, like that's what I wanted to touch on mostly for uh, this video. So yeah, I mean, so here's the thing about that. I was just talking to a friend today, and he ran into this, and he was tied one to one to an account manager, and the account manager actually tried to go behind their back and get them removed from account. Now the SE manager had that SE's back and went and had a discussion with that SE, and the SE explained to them the situation and explained to them like what happened and what's like he didn't even mess up, right? But this happens. So politics and sales go hand in hand. If you don't enjoy politics, you might not enjoy sales because whenever someone is commission based, especially highly leveraged commission based, right? Salespeople could be 0% base, 100% commission, 50, 50 like I've heard of 0% base, 100% commission. I've actually never seen one. So take that with a grain of salt. I've seen 50-50, 40-60, or 60-40. So you can say like on average, 50% of someone's salary is coming from the sales that they make. So it's a very high stress job. It's a very high demand job. And gotta have a fall guy. And they're loud. Salespeople are usually loud. So unless an SE is strong and they know how to defend themselves and they've documented what they've done, they could be the fall guy. But that's an exception to the rule, not the rule itself. A lot of salespeople are great people. They just want to do right by the customers. And some account executives want to support the SE, like want to help build the SE because they know if they invest in the SE can actually help them out. But some don't think like that. Some are very transactional. They're car salespeople. They just want to come in and get out and sell their stuff and go home. So they end up needing fall guys. So yeah, but thanks for that comment. So yeah, any final thoughts? If not, I'm just gonna end the video here. I hope you got something out of it. So yeah, I think that's it for today. Have a great night. Thank you, Scott, for coming on. For whoever else came by and didn't comment, didn't just like was listening in the shadows, I appreciate you being here. And we're about to end this video. If you want to say hi before we leave, please do so. I'll give you 3 seconds. One. It seems like killing it as an SE would make a great AE. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, if you're killing it as an SE, why would you want to become an AE? It's less stress. The only reason people become AEs is because it's more money. And not necessarily. Sometimes killing it as an SE is just because you're good at the technical stuff and you're able to answer customer questions. So killing it as an SE would make you a great SE mentor, potentially a leader, or just a great SE. Right? Like think about it this way: Phil Jackson wasn't a great player, but he made a great coach. Michael Jordan was a great player. I don't think he ever coached, but he definitely did manage teams into the ground. So just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be good at the next thing. Totally different games. So yeah, we managed. The cough went away, so we managed to hold on. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Shots fired. It's got. I'll catch you later.